Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. You guys, we are here and we are going to talk about And Just Like That, episode 6, Diwali. You're going to want to go ahead and buckle up because I have so much to say about this episode. Now, first of all, you see I've pulled back out my thesaurus here. We're going to find a new word for suck. Last week it was a load of pants. I personally think we should go with schlocky this week. What do you think? You guys, can you believe this? Also, I'm going to leave this right here for you. This is going to explain a lot of my feelings about this episode. Every week I say, it's got to get better, right? And then we're spoon-fed this pile of you know what, and it's so much worse. I'm in shock about how bad this week's episode is. I can't even tease that we got a good one. It's so bad. It's so schlocky. Am I using that right? We have so much to talk about, so much to get into. There's just a couple of things I want to say first. If you're around tonight, today's Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, click on my video that's going up at that time, and you'll be able to live chat with me or chat with all of us about our feelings on the episode, the show, and whatever else is on your mind. We'll talk about it all. So that's scheduled at 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you miss it, don't worry. You can still watch the video. You can still read the group chat, and you can leave me comments on that, and I will read them all. Also, I am working on my Patreon. I just recorded the very first episode of Sex and the City. It was so much fun to record. Patreon's not quite up yet, but it will be in a few days. I will definitely let you know, and I am going to share that first episode with everybody so you can listen to it and see what you think and decide if you want to join, so check back for that. Okay, but we got to dive face first into this episode, right? So I have a new segment I've decided to whip out for this episode, so brace yourself for this. You ready? It's called Worst Lines of the Show. This show is so poorly written, I thought, hey, it'd be fun to just read some of the lines that are the worst ones. And believe me, it's hard to pick which ones are the worst ones. So, here we go. Here's some of the worst lines of the show. You ready for this schlocky load of pants? Also, I'm going to set this background back up just to remind us who's responsible for all this drivel. Out with the mold and in with the new. That was by Anthony. Don't stay late. You have your math tutor in the morning. Why am I saying it like that? Because that's how Miranda delivered the line while using her vibrator talking to her son. Another gem was when the doctor said, speaking about his assistant, needles trigger her. What's this? Who invited this? Said Miranda while shaking her neck. This is what they do to women. They make it wrong for us to age, you guys. Miranda said that, and it made me seriously want to vomit because that's exactly what the writers are doing to us. What's bad about it? They make us feel like it's wrong to age. I had a sex dream about her after that comedy concert. That was said by Charlotte. You guys, what the hell is a comedy concert? Have you ever in your life heard of a comedy concert? I haven't. It's not an affair, it's a finger. That was said by Miranda. And lastly, this one wasn't said, but it was typed on a screen that we got to see. Hi, it's Rambo. You guys, I cannot handle this schlocky. Also, I warned you at the beginning of the episode to buckle up because I have a lot to say. So now we're going to dive into what we all come here for, right? The fashion. I just want to show you a couple of the looks from today's episode. What do we think? Especially that hat looking good, huh? What is happening? What happened to all the fashion? Even if you didn't agree with the old choices, because there were some wild fashions in the original series, what is this? What are we getting now? This is awful. Also, I would like to go ahead and put this here that the beeping in the episode, it sums up my annoyance. It just kept on and it's like they don't just annoy us with the writing, now they have to throw in beeping too. Who did we piss off in the writer's room? And speaking of, I'm going to tell you, if you haven't listened to any of the writer room podcasts that I've put up, just take a listen. It will blow your mind. You can literally listen to any episode in any order. It doesn't matter. You'll hear the insane things that they're saying to us, the audience. The other thing I like to do each week is bring up the comments you guys are most talking about. The thing I got the most this past week is about Steve. Poor Steve. They're using them as a prop. They no longer need the men in their lives. They spent movies and series building up Miranda and Steve's relationship, and now Steve is not even, he's just completely an afterthought. Not even that. He's just not even in the episodes anymore. Okay, and again, I'm going to be the asshole here. Why do we keep pulling Carrie's hair back so tight? It gives me a headache to look at. It does no favors for her, and it just looks so bad, and it does age her. So I feel like they're doing that on purpose, but it's so bad, right? So Carrie and Anthony are looking at this apartment. It's downtown. Never lived downtown before, and this is where Anthony feeds us out with the mold and in with the new. Seema's out on the balcony talking with her dad. Damn the Knicks. That's some of the fine writing we get in that scene. Anthony's saying he needs to move. He says, "Buckle up, princess, I'm rebounding." And again, you guys are so on point. Great in the comments. I really do read every single one of them. I do. And I said last week, Anthony's kind of my comic relief for this. And I actually I just had a lot of gay men speak up and say they find it completely offensive that he is this caricature of a person and over the top and just not representative of what they think. And you know what? I respect that. So screw Anthony too. I think I mentioned this before, but in case I didn't, I do have to say how awful the title card looks too. It looks like something I've made on iMovie on my home computer, right? It makes no sense with the show. So from here we have Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte at dinner, and she's saying, "Guys, I just don't love it." And they're like, "Well, then don't buy it. It's too cold, too modern." She's like, "But I signed the papers." Oh my God. And then Charlotte's like, "It's okay. If you don't like living there, you can just sell it." What? Who are we trying to relate to with this dialogue in this scene? I genuinely am curious. Who is this for? Also, Carrie mentions being 55 again because, we have to. And we said it before, these women do not look like this in their press interviews. Why do they have them looking so bad? What is going on here? One might argue that Carrie is grieving, so I'll give her a little bit of a pass on that. But what's happening with Miranda? You guys were so funny about the wig comments. Oh my gosh. You just don't even know what kind of smiles you give me in comic relief. I absolutely love it. Keep the comments coming. So then we're over at Carrie looking at a magazine. For no reason, she just says, "This isn't healthy," and no other context. I have a theory, and I'm probably wrong. I don't know. It's just in my head that they probably had Big in some of the scenes, maybe talking to her in some way, how people deal with things by seeing people that they've lost, But now with all this stuff that's come out, allegedly, about him, they've maybe edited it out. And so they just left the scene of Carrie saying, "This isn't healthy." What was the scene? Then we go over to Charlotte. And you guys, I thought I had reached my level of disgust, but this scene proves that we can go so much farther past it with this schlocky load of pants. So she's like, "Kids, no more room toast unless it's your birthday." I should have added that to the worst lines part of the show. Rose is saying, "Can I redecorate?" Madame Alexander International doll collection, and they talk about them being culturally inappropriate. You guys, I cannot handle this. They say it's from a time that was okay. I just find, okay, if you collect dolls, I'm sorry, good for you. I'm sure yours are lovely. I find dolls creepy. I don't know what they're talking about here, and frankly, I don't want to know because they're full of shit. So are the writers trying to cancel It's a Small World from Disney? Is that inappropriate? I'm just asking for a friend. You guys, I would rather spend 14 hours talking about those damn dolls than to see this scene. Why do we have to have Che even when Che's not there? Miranda is remembering the Che encounter, and we got more scenes of last week's horrific footage that they decided to show us. So her law professor interrupts her thoughts. They go grab a coffee. She gets a call. You guys, I have a question. Why? What is this show? Where are we going with this? I understand that they're showing us that that she's going through so much with the infertility, and the friend is going to rub it in, and we get it. Fine. But I don't understand why we need all this. I really feel like it goes back to the thing I was saying about ticking boxes. So now they can tick one that it makes it inclusive of people that have struggled with fertility. What's happening? What is this schlocky? Then, as I pointed out last week, Carrie is dressed like an Olsen twin. Carrie and Seema are looking around a shop. This is where Seema explains Diwali, and I keep struggling with the pronunciation of that word. I have looked it up. I've heard people say it. I still struggle with it, so forgive me for that. I did have a lot of very insightful comments about how sacred this holiday is and what it means to people, and celebration of light over dark. Fantastic. I'm all for it. Here's what pissed me off. They felt the need to explain why it's cultural appreciation versus appropriation. I'm just going to leave that there, and I'm going to go stick my head in the toilet. So then we have Carrie and Charlotte in a storage unit. Carrie wants to find a few things to take to her new place. She talks about Marie Kondo and sparking joy, and I'm thinking Marie Kondo's head would explode if she saw this room. She finds her favorite sun hat, and I say burn it, send it back to hell where it belongs. Carrie cuts open a box of Big's records, and of course she has a meltdown. And again, I'm really not trying to be the a-hole here. I'm not. But tell me you saw Charlotte's face here. All the work she's had done won't let her make a horrified face, so this is the smell the fart face that she made throughout this scene. Then we have Carrie in her big stupid hat, and I actually wrote that in my notes, in her new apartment. You guys, they spent probably about an hour and a half of silence, except for the beeping. They were just beeping. She's looking around trying to find the beeping. Did the beeping ever even get resolved now that I'm thinking about it post-show? I don't think it did. It was just beeping. So I literally wrote how many minutes do we spend on beeping. She gets a phone call. It's Anthony. He needs her to go with him because Stanford had booked facelifts. So now he needs her to go to stop him from doing something crazy. We see Anthony's hot guys drop bread. It's a whole thing. Anthony begs her to go, and she agrees, and she slams the dishwasher to try to get the beeping to stop. I can't make this more fun or interesting, so we're going to move on. We're going to be skipping over the husband and the professor and Myrtle Beach of it all because, honestly, it didn't add to the storyline. It doesn't make sense. I barely care about the main characters. Don't know why we need these scenes with the side characters. It's depressing, honestly, this fertility struggle, and it's just hard to hear. The only thing that hit me over the head that I do want to drop here is they've made a point to show us how smart and confident she is about everything, and yet she's using Miranda as almost like to get permission not to have a baby. It's the strangest thing. I don't understand how these characters are written. Carrie calls maintenance to try to have the beeping stop. They're gone for the night, so she has to wait till morning. Then you guys, because we haven't been tortured enough, they decided to give us this scene. And again, I want to point out that Cynthia Nixon directed this. So it was her call to add in scenes like this. She is taking care of herself with a loud vibrator and thinking about Che. I don't know why we have to relive this, and then Brady knocks, because they can't stop focusing on sex stuff and Brady, and it's disgusting. And if you haven't heard it, I urge you to go listen to that writer's podcast, because I don't know, I can't remember which episodes have played yet, but there's some coming up where Michael Patrick King can't stop talking about Brady and the semen, and it's so disgusting. They're obsessed. But Miranda yells out, Brady says he's going to go out, and Miranda yells out while orgasming, it seemed to be, "Don't stay out late, you have a math tutor in the morning." And it was the most poorly acted, god-awful, vomit-inducing scene maybe of the series so far. I don't know, it might compete with that kitchen scene. So we go back over to Carrie looking like this. The beeping is still happening, and she screams, "This isn't working!" And that's exactly what we're screaming about this whole, and just like that. They go over to Dr. Paul's office. It's Dr. Paul David. And it's Carrie and it's Anthony. We saw this in the preview. Pretty much everything we saw in the preview happens here. He thinks it's Carrie getting the face work. Haha, get it? You're old. And it ends up being, it's Anthony that wants it. And of course the doctor goes, oh, you're hot. That's what the doctor said to Anthony. That's a thing that a doctor would say, right? Oh my gosh. He says that needles trigger his assistant. Again, a thing that a doctor would say. Carrie asked for a consult. She explained she didn't sleep last night and her husband had passed away. He says, you look tired. Oh, God, you guys. He says he guesses that she's 48 or 49. She takes this as a huge compliment. Mother Nature and Instagram are much harder on women, he says to her. And he shows her face before and after. He takes 15 years off her face. And this show's taking 15 years off my life. And I swear it's adding wrinkles because I keep scrunching up my face and saying, what the hell is this? And also, what the hell is this outfit? Why is she wearing suspenders? And why is her hair pulled back like this again? Back to the load of pants. They're at a picnic. It's Charlotte, Miranda, and Carrie. What? Okay, sorry, I'm going to collect myself here. So Miranda's saying, what's this? Who invited this? Talking about her neck skin, you guys. So they point out that they're drinking non-alcoholic champagne, wine, whatever it's supposed to be, because Miranda has quit drinking. And so many of you had so many very insightful things to say about that in the last episode and how offensive you found it that she just kind of said, okay, I'm done drinking now with a serious drinking problem and just poured it down the sink like it was nothing. So now she's drinking this non-alcoholic, and yeah, it reminded me very much of Countess Luann from Real Housewives of New York. Okay, they talk about who are you fantasizing about? Okay, sure, that's a question you'd ask your friends. Miranda reveals, honestly, it's Carrie's boss, Che, and Charlotte says, oh yeah, I get that. She's so cool and charismatic. What? Who is? Obviously, they're not talking about Che. And I said she, I'm sorry, they. They are so cool and charismatic. No, Che is not cool and charismatic. She's the opposite. Charlotte says about the comedy concert. She had a dream about her. What is a comedy concert? I'm begging you. What is this bullshit? This is where Miranda reveals, I had sex with Che at Carrie's apartment after the surgery when we thought she was asleep. Charlotte is surprised by this. Miranda is offended that Charlotte is surprised by this. Charlotte actually makes a good point that, hey, we actually talk about everything. Why are we not allowed to talk about this? Carrie has to bring it around make it about herself again and brings up Big dying. And they ask Miranda if she's gay now. And Miranda says, I don't know. It's not as simple as gay or straight. Che identifies as non-binary. That was the actual line of dialogue. So Charlotte brings up, you're married to a man. Now you're suddenly having non-binary sex? I can't believe these lines that I'm reading. Charlotte then says, you're not progressive enough for this. So Miranda gets mad. Her leg falls asleep because we have to be reminded how old they are again. She walks off. Carrie stops her and says, we already lost Samantha. We're not losing anyone else. And I say, how dare you bring up Samantha? Screw you guys. Stop mentioning our girl. Then we go over to Carrie getting ready to go with Seema. And I want to know your thoughts on this. I personally don't love the outfit, but I understand what they were going for. I will give them just a teeny bit of credit as saying, hey, at least this one's interesting. I hate the flower mohawk, but I did get some comments saying you love it. I love the color of the flowers, so if I'm going to be positive, I'll say that. This whole scene made no sense. It's about showing that Seema can't just be happily single. She's got to pretend to her family that she has this boyfriend, Dennis. That it's been 8 months that they've been together. He's with Doctors Without Borders. And yeah, sure, okay. So there's a car ride with Carrie and Seema. She's asking, is it easier for you or for your family if you pretend about Dennis? Are you happy with your life alone? Carrie says she hates her new apartment, and Seema says, then we'll just sell it. Because, again, sure, that's a thing that's so easily done, right? You have to love where you live. Okay, let's move on. So Carrie is looking at herself in the mirror, and just like that, I remember how much I loved the last 15 years. You guys, I can't. No more words are spoken for the episode because they have to end with "and just like that." They're playing loudly. I can see clearly now what Carrie's opening boxes. She's back in her old apartment, and I will say you guys had so many funny things to say about her old apartment and how she ruined it. It used to be so cool and cute and fun apartment. Now it's terrible. Charlotte is boxing up the dolls and smiling at Rose, who has cut their hair and hanging up a poster because now suddenly the name Rose is offensive. Miranda picks up her phone. She sends a message that's so cringe it makes me want to jump out of my skin. It says, "Hi, it's Rambo. Let's hang out sometime." Nope, shouldn't have sent that one. And then we see Carrie in a red flower dress, and thank you, God, that's how the episode ends. So I let it all fly on this episode. You know every single one of my thoughts, and I gotta say, it feels so good to talk about them with you. And this is where I really want you to respond. I need to know every thought on this episode, on the show, on all of it, the fashion, the dialogue. I need to hear it. You guys are my sounding board, my people, my community, and I really sincerely appreciate every single one of you, every single comment, every single thumbs up, subscription, all of it. You all are amazing. I really do appreciate you. And I love that you get it, that you get me and get why this show is this pile of shit that it is. So thank you all so much for listening, for responding, for all of it. I appreciate you. Definitely check back. I have so much more stuff coming up soon. If you're around tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, join me for the live chat. If you miss it, no biggie. There'll still be a video going up then. You can watch it and relax and enjoy because I feel like I need to pour Listerine in my brain to wash off the stench of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.